Today we want to welcome Ashley Ludlow to the program. Whitman fans best know her as Ashley Wright when she played for the Blues women's basketball team from 1998 to 2002. After graduating from Whitman, Ashley earned her nursing degree from Bellevue College. For the past 14 years, has been a registered nurse at Evergreen Health, which is a hospital in Kirkland, Washington, outside of Seattle. So Ashley, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. First talk about being a registered nurse and the role you have at Evergreen.
So like you said, I've been there for 14 years, and I love working in the emergency department because you kind of just never know what your day is going to bring, and you're always kind of having multitasking and use a lot of critical thinking skills. And over time, I did a lot of training of other nurses, and then now primarily I'm one of the main charge nurses and triage nurses, and just do lots of different projects to kind of help the department. And of course, I'm on the floor working at the bedside.
Many of us know Seattle was very hard hit by the coronavirus. You mentioned over email, and we communicated that Evergreen was one of the hardest hit in the area. We've all seen pictures and heard stories, but give us a firsthand account of your frontline experience during the pandemic.
It's been interesting. We had the first case in our area in Snohomish County at the very end of January. And I don't think that any of us saw what was about to happen, because I work in Kirkland, which is close to one of the nursing facilities that ended up getting hit really hard. And we had all the patients come into us from there. And I just remember I walked in to work one day and everything was changed. Everyone, we're fully gowned, goggles, masks, wearing our respirators, closed off one of the wings of our emergency department to make it negative airflow. And there was just countless rooms with respiratory patients in them, really sick patients. And that continued for a good month and a half of just kind of like us trying to wrap our heads around what's going on. But at the same time, as ER nurses going to work, knowing that's what we signed up for. And that's kind of what we're trained and prepared to do, is handle these situations. It was just, it just changed our practice completely.
You mentioned a couple times you've been in this field for 14 plus years. Have you experienced anything similar to this, or is this just unique altogether?
It's so unique because we saw, the H1N1, Ebola, and those things did change our practice. And we still have things that we do today from those. And we had lots of training, but nothing to this extent, nothing that has, we treat every patient basically as if they have the coronavirus. And that is not the case when we were concerned about Ebola. I mean, we knew what to do if we were suspecting a patient of having Ebola, but this is different. This is anyone and everyone could be the carrier. We cannot spread this to other people. And so that changes everything. It's a whole new scale.
You've seen the dangers of the virus, obviously. How has it affected your personal life?
I'm very fortunate that I have a supportive family and everything. It was very hard at the beginning of this to feel like, oh man, I am the person that people shouldn't be around, because we didn't know enough about what was going on. We didn't know, are we doing all the right precautions? So I felt, a little isolated there, and ended up working a lot during that time. And then as time has gone on, I feel safer almost going to work than I do going to the grocery store, just because it's a much more controlled environment. Feel a lot better. And so it does, but it was pretty nerve-wracking at first.
I want to talk a little bit about your time at Whitman and how this translates into what you're doing now. You played hoops for the Blues. How has that helped you professionally, that experience playing collegiately, and just what you're doing now?
Oh, I think it has helped tremendously. I view my coworkers as part of my team, and um, that team environment, trusting your teammates, everyone knowing your roles, really communicating well. That's what makes us successful at work. And I have a great team, and that has made this whole experience a lot better. I can't imagine being somewhere, working somewhere where I didn't feel as safe because my teammates weren't on the same page. And so I think that that has helped. I think being the charge nurse and making sure that my staff is safe and they know exactly what they're doing when they go into a room. So before, during, and after, and giving them the support and tools that they need for that has come from my experience playing basketball and being able to like communicate um, what's needed. But also, it's hard because we've been when you're in the emergency department and you're having to run a code or a resuscitation for somebody who has the coronavirus, it is very complicated, and you need a lot more support. And as ER nurses, we want to run into a room and help somebody. And so it's been a lot of wait a second, you know, do you have everything you need? You know, making sure that people are ready to do what they need. It's kind of like, you know, are you prepared before you go out on the floor? Do you need that second to group together and say, hey, this is what we're going to do, this is our strategy? And I think a lot of that has come from playing basketball and communicating with the team.
Yeah, Ashley, I really want to thank you for coming on. I think that on behalf of everybody, thank you so much for your work, your frontline work. I know such an important part of dealing with this pandemic, and thanks again. And really stay safe and keep up the good work. Okay.
Thank you, and thanks everyone for doing your part.